Hello everyone, my name is Bethany and this is my channel Thany's Thoughts. This video is actually going to be about Smutathon, my Smutathon wrap-up, and my Magical Readathon wrap-up. I'm filming this on April 28th, so I'm not quite done with my Magical Readathon. I have my Muggle Studies read and I'm finishing up my Transfiguration read. I'm almost there, but so I might finish up that wrap-up later. But today I'm going to film my wrap-up for Smutathon that I did over the weekend. For those who don't know, Smutathon is a readathon where you read as much smutty romance books as you possibly can. It is hosted by Riley Marie and Ginger Reads Laney. I will link them down below. It's my favorite Smutathon. I've done it 3 or 4 rounds. Always really enjoy it. It's always a great time. I love romance. I read romance a lot. But I will have to say this weekend Smutathon was probably my smuttiest ever. I'm not going to lie. It was quite smutty. I had 3 books that involved threesomes, and 2 of them had ass play. Like, it was quite smutty. I ended up reading all my TBR, which you can see my TBR video that I posted last week on my channel. Without further ado, I'll go into my wrap-up of how I like the books that I read. Start off with, I started with A Worthy Opponent by Katie Robert. It was a series that's called Wicked Villains that is about Disney villain ships. This particular book was about Hook and Tink. It was quite smutty and it was really great. I really loved it. I rated it 4 stars. I really liked the relationship between Hook and Tink. I thought it was a lot of fun. He was just totally into her and she was just this really bratty smart mouth. I really liked their dynamic. I thought it was really great. I think I probably would have liked a little bit more banter, I'm not gonna lie. I think she gave in a little bit too easily, but I still really liked it. I still really enjoyed it. I love seeing all the other characters interact with each other. And the next book is about Beast, Gaston, and Belle. And they had an excerpt at the end of that book, and damn, that looks really smutty and also really good. So Peter is the villain in this book, and in the previous book, they had mentioned him having a girlfriend named Wendy. I think she made a brief appearance in the previous book. So I was really excited for this one because I thought they were going to develop into that in a little bit more. But Wendy didn't show up at all. And so I was kind of a little bit low-key disappointed about that because I thought she was teased out a little bit. That's a minor detail. That's just because I'm a Peter Pan fan. In any case, that was something I was looking forward to and I was disappointed they didn't have it. The next book I read was Only for a Night by Naima Simone. This was a pretty solid, like 3-star read for me. It is about 2 former best friends who always loved each other and they ended up not working out. She is now a widow and decides to go show up at his sex club, or they call it an aphrodisiac club. Let's be honest, it's a sex club. Anyway. And decides to only hook up for a night, even though they have all this history. But I really enjoyed it. It was short. It was a novella, so there wasn't a whole lot of buildup, but there was a whole lot of smut. Just a little bit light on plot. I think I would have liked a little bit more development. I didn't really connect with the characters. But I did like that it was very sex positive. She comes from a traumatic background where she was called a slut for liking certain things and being interested in exploring those things, and it was all about exploring her sexuality, which I really enjoyed. It was just okay. I didn't love it, but the rest of the series sounds intriguing. I think it would be worth checking out. It's the Lick series, because the club is called Lick, so if you're interested in that, you can definitely check it out. The next book I read was Luca by Brenda Rothart. It's a Chicago Blaze hockey series. Romance. I rated it 3 stars. This is about a single dad who took over the custodianship of his nieces and nephew. The heroine is a workaholic who has like a traumatic, tragic past. They start off with a one-night stand that kind of turns into more. I rated 3 stars. It was okay. I thought the romance really progressed really quickly. All of a sudden they were having one-night stands and then all of a sudden they were dating. It kind of felt like a disconnect. I didn't really see like the progression that I thought I would. I really liked the 2 of them together though. I thought they had really great chemistry and I thought it was solid. So I wanted to say that most of the book, like I would say the last half of it was about dealing with her trauma, which I guess I just wasn't in the mood for at the time. I think maybe some people would appreciate that. Yeah, I just wasn't in the space for that, so I just didn't love it. The next book in the series is called Victor, and that was like, they should have had an extra to that, and the heroine seemed really cute. I really liked her, so I might check that one out too. We'll see. Next read that I read was the group read called Theirs for the Night, also by Katie Robert. That one I rated about 3.5 stars. That was a solid threesome throuple relationship. It involves a prince, his bodyguard, and a girl they meet at a club. They just are there for the night. I mean, it was some good smut. It's the prequel to the next book in the series, which is actually more of a full-length novel. This was a novella, so it was really light on plot, didn't really have a lot. There's something going on with the prince and his kingdom right now that they didn't really get into, so I became kind of interested in knowing more, so I downloaded the other book and started reading it, called Forever Theirs, and the second book in the series. We'll see where that goes, but I thought it was solid smut, for sure. Those are the 4 books that I read officially for Smutathon. I was such on a roll, though, that I decided to add one more. Even though it was already past midnight, I was like, why not? And I decided to read Guarding Temptation by Talia Hibbert. That was also a 3.5 stars. It was also quite smutty and delightful. I like Talia Hibbert. I've read some of her books before. I really enjoyed it. Her characters are really, really good. I really liked the character dynamic. It was more promoted as a bodyguard romance, but it was actually more of a friends to lovers romance. He is the brother's best friend, and she is the little sister trope. So it was more of a friends to lovers romance. He didn't really protect. He wasn't really their bodyguard, but it was still cute. I still really liked it. I also love the fact that it was that her characters from Wanna Bet, which is one of another book that I read by her, was cameoed in the book. I thought that was kind of fun. One of the things I think I didn't like about the book was that it relies heavily on the we're just not telling each other how we feel type of conflict, and that's not my favorite. I'm glad it was a novella length and not a novel length, otherwise I don't think I would have liked it as much. It was the perfect size for what it was. So yeah, it was quite this funny weekend. It was a lot of fun. It's still one of my favorite readathons. I can't wait till next round. Yeah, it took me away from a magical readathon, but that's okay. For those who don't know, Magical Readathon is a readathon based on Harry Potter. So when I first heard about this readathon, I'm not gonna lie, I was like, this is like a lot of work. I just thought it was a lot. I was a little bit overwhelmed by all the things about Magical Readathon. I still kind of am, I'm not gonna lie. It's an intense readathon because the person who hosts it, her booktube channel is called Book Roast. I'll link her down below. She's done this her 3rd year doing Magical Readathon. So there's 2 different kinds of Magical Readathons. There's the Owls and there's the Newts, which is based on the tests that the Harry Potter characters take while they're at Hogwarts. The Owls, I believe, are more like midterms, I would feel like, and I feel like the Newts are like aptitude tests for their careers or whatever. This round was the Owls. In the fall, I believe, is going to be the Newts. The Owls, is what I'm doing right now. And what you had to do was pick your career, and based on the career that you pick, you have certain subjects that have certain reading prompts to do. Like I said, it's really involved. I'll link the website below, and you can take a look at the careers pages and all the different prompts. Yeah, it's a little bit intense, I'm not gonna lie, but it's a lot of fun. I've been really actually enjoying the Magical Readathon. I have tons of physical books to read, much less things on my Kindle. So during the times that we're in, I decided to go ahead and pick from what I already had and not download or buy anything new. I technically did buy something new. One thing, I believe. But most of what I pulled from Magical Readathon was stuff that I already had, which was fun. I really enjoyed doing that. I should probably do that for readathons more often. I think I just get involved in what everyone else is reading, and I want to read what everyone else is reading. So I'm going to go over the books that I've read so far, and then I will film the rest in a couple days before I post this. Let me start with what career I selected. So I picked The Hogwarts Professor because it had the most flexibility. I only had to read 7 books, which for me is really fitting because I am not the fastest reader, which includes the prompts of Defense Against the Dark Arts, a subject that you're going to teach, and 5 other subjects that you can just pick. The book that I chose for Defense Against the Dark Arts is a book that has to take place by the sea or the coast, and I chose Sea Witch by Sarah Henning. It's basically a retelling of Little Mermaid, but like the old Hans Christian Andersen, not necessarily the Disney movie version. I ended up rating it 2 stars. It wasn't my favorite. I was really excited about it, and it was very disappointing. I'm not gonna lie. I have actually tried to finish it twice. This was my 3rd time reading it, which was made it perfect for the challenge because I was like almost done, and I was like, I can get through it, and I can finish it, and it'll be part of this challenge, and then I'll be done and done with it. The first like few pages, it was interesting, and then it just really dragged for forever. The last 50 pages, it was like, damn, things are happening. And I just don't know why it wasn't like that the whole book. The romance was all over the place. The twist of the character of who it was supposed to be was really predictable. It wasn't my favorite, but it finally happened. I finally finished it. Not my favorite read for sure. I decided to do an herbology challenge, and that was finding a book with the letter M. What I ended up reading was Muse of Nightmares by Lanny Taylor. That is the sequel to Strange the Dreamer, also by Lanny Taylor. I really love Lanny Taylor's books. I read her Daughter of Smoke and Bone series. Lanny Taylor's writing is so gorgeous. It's so gorgeous. It's so like visual and visceral and imaginative, and her world building is insane. I really, really love her writing. And so Strange the Dreamer was a lot slower. I really still enjoyed it, but it was just a lot slower. The progression and build of it was moved very, very slow. So Muse and Nightmares, though, things were moving. Everything was happening all at once. And it was really great. I enjoyed it. I ended up rating it 5 stars. And let me tell you, I don't rate very many things 5 stars, but I loved it. I couldn't think of anything else. I couldn't think of anything that was wrong with it. I loved how all the characters came together and how they all played their parts in, I feel like Strange the Dreamer was a whole entire setup for the duology, and Muse and Nightmares just completed it all together. And it was tragic and heartbreaking, but beautiful. What can I say? I loved it. I thought it was just, I loved it. I thought it was stunning. I can see maybe why people wouldn't love it. There's a lot that happens. There maybe isn't because it's so much is happening. There maybe not be a lot of character development. But the second book, I think, is just, the first book set everything up, and so the second book, I think, it's just things are happening and it's all coming clear. And what I like about her books a lot, especially the Daughter of Smoke and Bone series, is like this a lot. Everything slowly unfurls. I think that's what this book was like too. Everything, the whole mystery of what was really going on, what was happening, all came together, and we get the whole clear picture of everything. It's really hard to describe what this series is about. I will say it's really hard to describe the series, what it's about, without explaining too much. I will say it is about a young man who is a dreamer and always has imagined this myth of a city that he has done so much research about and has tried to find everything about. And then it turns out it's real. The people from the city come, and he gets swept away and taken away. And then when you get to the city, you realize what's going on, and they're under a crisis. I don't think I can give much more than that. Sorry, guys. The world building and the imagination of what she comes up with I'm always blown away. It's really, really great. So I'm a big fan. I really, really like the second Muse and Nightmares, and I'm glad I was able to finally finish that series. The next book I read was A Torch Against the Night by Saba Ta'ir. That book was the second book in the Ember in the Ashes series. I read the first book. Actually, I read the first book on audiobook from the library quite a while ago, actually. Again, I'm really into series right now. Everything happening and me reading, I've been trying to just read more books from series that I haven't finished, because this is, when else am I going to do it? I read A Torch Against the Night for the challenge of Charms, which was to read a book with a white cover. So, see, it's white. About two characters. One is from like the poor scholar, they call them scholars, community, and then the other guy character is a soldier. They end up getting together, and she convinces him to come with her and save her brother from prison, where he's imprisoned for being a spy. But really the knowledge I guess he knows would totally change the revolution. The first book was slow. I'm not gonna lie, I do remember the first book being pretty slow. But the world building is really great and really detailed, and I really love the main characters. I think their chemistry is great. It's a 4-book series. The 4th book is coming out later this year, which is kind of why I wanted to start reading the series again, because I really, I'm excited about that 4th book. The cover looks stunning. Second book, so Torch Against the Night, there's just a lot of things that are happening. Things are moving, they're traveling. But it's not, I feel like books when they travel a lot can drag and get really boring, but this was, no, things were happening. They were moving and things were happening, and it was a lot of action. Torch Against the Night, I rated 4 stars. I thought it was a lot happening and still was set up for the next third book, but things happened, things progressed, there was a lot of character development, so I still really enjoyed it. I really like Elias and Laia. They're the center relationship. There's things going on, so they're not really together yet, but I'm still really shipping them hardcore. And then we got introduced to a new character called Harper, and I'm so shipping him with Helene, and I hope that gets more into the 3rd book. Crossing fingers, because I really, really liked them in this book. There was a sort of a love triangle with another character named Keenan, and there was a twist to that I wasn't really a fan of. I can't spoil it I don't want to spoil it further than that, but yeah, I wasn't a fan of the twist on that. I thought it was kind of random. Yeah, but I still really, really enjoyed the book, and I'm still really excited for the rest of the series. So here's hoping. 3rd book is already out. It's called Reaper at the Gates by Sabaa Tahir. It's already out in hardcover. I ordered it in paperback though, so which is coming out, I believe, later this year, which I feel like was good, because I don't want to have too much time between the 3rd book and the 4th book when the 4th book comes out, because then I'll forget what happened. So I'm going to save the 3rd book for a little bit later this year, and then be ready for the 4th book to come out when it comes out in December. So that's my plan for that series, but I'm really, really excited for it. I'm hoping it's going to be great. Cross fingers. For the Ancient Ruins Challenge, it is to read a book with a heart on the cover. I ended up reading The Honey Don't List by Christina Lauren. I also read it for the Christina Lauren fan group on Facebook, because they were reading it for their book challenge this month. So 2 birds with 1 stone. I really liked The Honey Don't List. I mean, I really like Christina Lauren books in general. The Honey Don't List is their newest book that just came out, I believe, in March. The book's about 2 assistants who work for a married couple who are like the Chris and Johanna Gaines from like HGTV type couple, and their marriage is not going well, and the assistants are on their book tour trying to get them to act like they actually love each other, and doing so, the assistants start to, of course, slowly fall in love. I really liked it. I thought it was really cute. I rated it 4 stars. I thought it was very light and a light, quick, fun, romancy read. The romance question kind of happened for me a little bit too quickly, because they didn't really like each other in the beginning. But they also didn't really have a lot of interaction together. And then when they were working more together on the book tour, they ended up starting to kind of fall for each other. I think I would have liked a little bit more enemies to lovers type of trope, but it didn't come off that way. It was okay. It wasn't my favorite Christina Lauren, but I still really liked it. Again, I still thought it was a really cute, quick, fun read. Please, if you haven't read any Christina Lauren books, do yourself a favor, read Christina Lauren. So those are the books I have read so far for the Magical Readathon. So I've read 4, I have 3 more to go. I have 3 days left, so I can do this. That's it for me for now, but I will film the rest of my Magical Readathon when I finish, and then hopefully get this all posted on Friday. Cross fingers. I'm still figuring this out as I go. And I'm back, ready to finish up the wrap-up for my magical readathon. I finished my wrap-up minutes to spare before midnight, right before April 30th became May 1st. Very exciting. Yes! Without further ado, I'll go over the rest of the challenges that I had and the books that I read for each one of them. Next subject for my owls was Transfiguration, which you have to choose a book that involves a shapeshifter. So of course the first series that I grab is going to be the Mercy Thompson series by Patricia Briggs, and this particular book is number 9 in the series, called Fire Touched. I've been a huge fan of her series. I've read, obviously, quite a few of them. The series is about Mercy Thompson is a coyote shifter, one of the few that actually exist, who gets involved with the werewolf pack and the alpha, who is named Adam. This is book number 9, so there's a romance through the series. This is book number 9, so they've been together for a while now, and a child has come to them who has been trapped in the land of the Fae for a really, really long time and has magical powers from it. So he comes to them asking for protection, and this particular child has the ability to wield fire. It was still a really good book in the series, a solid book in the series. I rated it a 3.5. I really love the Mercy Thompson series. If you love fantastical world building, contemporary setting, it's very urban fantasy. Strongly recommend. This wasn't my particular favorite book from the series, but I still really enjoyed it. This is book number 9 in the series, but the overall world, this was book number 13. There's also another series called Alpha and Omega. That's in a spin-off series of the Mercy Thompson world. That one is about 2 werewolves, Charles and Anna, who are together, and Anna is an Omega wolf, which is really fascinating concept. So I really strongly recommend the series, and but also really enjoyed the book. The next challenge I had to read was for my Potion Owls Magical Readathon. For that book, you had to read a book that was under 150 pages. So I read Fortunately the Milk by Neil Gaiman. This is the cover here. And so exciting, actually. I think I got this book from Comic-Con. There's a book plate that's signed, which is pretty cool. Also, I just want to show you some of the illustrations of this book. It's a kid's book, so which is why I was below 150 pages. I really couldn't find anything else that was under that length. So, but I don't have a problem reading him. I mean, look at this art. And the fonting on this is so great. Here's this one too. So the story is by Neil Gaiman, and the artist is by Scotty Young. It is about a dad who goes out to get some milk for his children for their cereal, and on the way he apparently has an adventure, and he tells them all about it when he gets home. It involves a time traveling dinosaur, pirates, vampires, dinosaurs in space, aliens, a lot that he did to get them the milk for their cereal. It was really cute. I mean, I rated it 4.5 stars. I don't know, I can't really rate a big kid's book 5 stars. Unless it's like the best kid's book ever. His imagination, I love Neil Gaiman. I've read some of his works before, some of his kids' books, but also his adult books. And his imagination is just amazing. Like, I love what he comes up with is just astounding to me. So yeah, so I really enjoyed this particular book. It was really cute. Oh, here's a picture of the kids as he's telling the story. That's pretty great. Anyway, it was really cute. I rated it 4.5 stars, and I think it would have been 4, but I think the 4.5 was made by the last, I'm not going to share it, but the very last picture that was illustrated is probably my favorite from the book. Yeah, I strongly recommend. It's really, really cute. And just read anything by Neil Gaiman, really. The last book that I read for my Magical Readathon was for the prompt Muggle Studies. So for Muggle Studies, you have to read a contemporary book. So I was going to read a different book. I totally diverted from that and decided to read Eliza and Her Monsters by Francesca Zappia. It is a young adult contemporary novel. It is about Eliza, who writes a very popular webcomic called Monstrous Sea. Eliza is only in high school. She's a senior in high school, and she has total anonymity. She only has 2 friends online who help her with a website and help her with the webcomic. I mean, not in the art way, but just in her maintaining her website, her forums, things like that. It's a very nerdy book. If you know fandom, if you know fan fiction, if you know webcomics and what that entails, then you kind of can get the lingo for this novel, which I know all those things. Eliza is totally anonymous. She completely lives her life online, basically, and she's just kind of existing as she goes through high school as well as through her family, who are like super, super sports people. And she ends up meeting a guy who is the first fan that she meets of her webcomic, the first fan of her webcomic that she meets in real life. And his name is Wallace. Of course, they start getting together and start a relationship. I really liked Eliza and Wallace. I thought they were really cute through the novel. I really enjoyed the novel's whole. I thought her building her world and how she was into it. There's also some under themes of mental health, I'm not going to lie. So trigger warning for that, if that's a thing for you. But then, of course, it breaks out that Eliza is the creator of the comic, because of course she doesn't tell Wallace. I mean, that's of course the plot point right there. And I really enjoyed it. I rated it 4.5 stars. It was so close to being a 5. I really had... There was a couple scenes in the end that kind of killed it for me. I mean, not entirely. I still rated it 4.5. But there was a couple scenes in the end that felt really out of character, and I didn't really understand why they went that way. Yeah, I was just a little bit disappointed. Overall, I still really enjoyed the book, and I thought it was great. The book was super popular a couple years ago when it came out. Like, it was everywhere. So when I saw it on Kindle Limited, I was like, of course, I'm going to check this out. I'm glad I did. I really, really enjoyed it. Also, the best scene was the scene between Eliza and her therapist. Therapy positive books for the win. I love therapy positive representation. It's a good thing. And that wraps up my magical readathon, guys. Yay! Super exciting. So I'm hoping to edit and finish the video by the end of today, and I am really enjoying the magical readathon. I had a really great time. I'm glad I did it. The newts, apparently there's later this fall, and that is apparently a lot more intense. We'll see how I do. Yeah, we'll see how I do. Stay tuned for more content from my channel. If you want to follow me on the interwebs, all of my social media is down below. I have Twitter, I have Goodreads, I have my Instagram, which is not really Bookstagram, but it's whatever it is. Anyway, and I'll also link the Smutathon information and the Magical Readathon information down below as well. I hope you enjoyed my video, and I will see you next time. Bye!